International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUL for life. We are IUL.
Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Maggie Forciedo. In the news tonight, Kadinamba warns UN of potential civil strife over Namibia and German genocide deal. Tobias Hanyeko, councillor, accused of having secret meetings. Unemployed fishermen receive food from the Irongo governor. Medical X-ray Centre hosts Pink Week. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and the weather. Now for the news in detail. Kadinambo, along with a group of Ova Herero and Nama tribes, have petitioned the United Nations to intervene in the genocide deal between the Namibian and German governments before it's too late, warning of potential civil strife in Namibia. Joseph Ilonga has this report.
Colleagues, let's wake up. Genocide never warned that it's going to take place. It's like a volcano which just you woke up, it is spewing. It will take a small action by a person in a remote area somewhere, and the whole country is engulfed. So, if you read the Convention of the United Nations, and I'm calling the international community, I'm appealing to the international community, through the United Nations to call the Namibian government and German government to order, because they are gambling with the situation in this country.
At a media briefing in Windhoek, former youth minister and SWAPO member of parliament Kadinambo said that he felt it was necessary to petition the UN Commissioner on Human Rights about the potential civil strife that could emerge as a result of the genocide deal between the Namibian and German governments before it's too late.
This country, from a military security point of view, I don't know whether the government of Namibia and German government are considering these factors. This country just emerged from war a few years ago. There are a lot of firearms and ammunitions that are still outside there. And Namibian citizens have got access to firearms. I'm talking from a military security perspective, that people have got arms in this country. Citizens and the army. Should anything, that's not my wish, and that's the purpose of my address. The realities of this country. People are armed. Should anything happen, it will be too late. It will be too late. Poland's and the Germans who are sitting, and the danger of this, the danger of this matter, how I'm appealing to the international community. You see the guys, the German from the German side of the thing, who are gambling with this situation. They are sitting in Berlin and Bonn. They will not be the one who will be affected on the ground here with the seed of war that they are planting in this country. They will not be the one. It will be a poor German farmer who is not aware even of what is going on, who will be facing angry Namas on the ground, angry Hereros on the ground. Where will the police be? Where will the Angela Polo be, or what is the lady, the Chancellor? Merkel. Where will they be? They will be in their air-conditioned office in Berlin. It will be the government of the Republic of Namibia that it has to deal with this situation. It will be us. These negotiations are not closing the page. They have got a potential to open a disastrous page. They are not closing it. The way they are doing it, they are not reconciling the tone of their language, the reckless speeches that they are making, the mockery and so on. They are preparing a mood for civil strife.
The former president of SWANU and member of parliament, Usutwaye Mamberua, advised the Namibian government not to conclude the genocide agreement which is before parliament. He also criticized the Namibian government for allegedly not taking a participatory approach by consulting the descendants of the victims of the genocide.
One of the main issues that government should take note of is that the agreement that is already before parliament, the general request that we sense from the public is that that agreement should not be concluded before it is sent to a parliamentary committee, so that the parliamentary committee should then go to the broader public, particularly the Hereros, to the Herero communities and the Nama communities for their inputs to redirect that process. Because consultations, particularly participatory approach, was never a feature in the process that led to that agreement.
Kadenambo expressed that the Namibian and German governments have breached international law and that Germany chose to use the government of Namibia as its proxy to suppress the interests of the descendants of the victims of genocide.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
The Tobias Hanyeko Council, or Christoph Likua, and several leaders are being accused of having secret meetings and manipulating the outcome of the elections. Residents say the Constituent Development Committee members were selected based on favoritism. Isai Sipunga has more.
This isn't the first time voters call their councillors out for corrupt practices. Recently, disgruntled Commersdal constituents also demonstrated for similar reasons. And there are probably more, which makes one question whether this is common practice in regional councils. Tobias Hanyeko youth at a briefing expressed their disappointment in their constituency councillor, Christoph Likua, for excluding them from meetings and manipulating the CDC election results.
We as residents of Tobias Hanyeko will not sit and observe our constituency being denied of development because of someone's emotions. Hence our request for a task team from the Commerce Regional Council to ensure that we hold this election in line with the Act and that a task team of officials conduct the elections. That the meeting is properly called to afford the residents an opportunity to participate in these affairs of the constituency.
The disgruntled youth say their constituency has been underdeveloped for many years, and they blame the leadership.
As we all know, Tobias Hanyeko constituency is divided into three categories. It is divided into formal, semi-formal, and informal. In those three areas, you see, we want all the people to be included when it comes to development, irregardless of where they stay, if it's in the formal area, semi-formal, informal. we want ideas to come from all the residents of the Tobias Anyeko constituency. And this thing of bringing in people that are chasing their 50s, and the councillor wants them to represent the youth, we are actually saying that the councillor, if he gets us or he hears this, he must get it right, he must get it in his head that we are tired.
I remember when Corona started, I saw in the TV that the Legua was saying, like, we as a community of Tobias Anyeko, Kuriangava, we receive food, but we never receive any food. I see that system is the system he wanted to use on Saturday. He elected his own people and he came here. So if nobody could tell us like there's something like this, we just on the dark there. So
you have communities such as informal traders that need a representative on the CDC, but this CDC has no representative for informal traders. There's no representative of the people. So it is very important that we as community members are part of these structures that deals with our everyday to-day life.
Why Omwepongo we did not get any development is just because Councillor just only choosing people that is on his favor. Then he told the meeting, Kusha, he will not even he will do what people what it's a culture. It's a culture that what he do now is what they do.
So is this how leaders are supposed to be taking us? Is this how they are supposed to be leading us? Just imagine I've been here for more than 25 years and me seeing how things are done. How about now the rest of the other youth which are going to grow up? How things are going to be done?
Failure by the Tobias Anyeko constituency office and the relevant authorities to comply with the demands will have the youth activist exploring other available recourse, including the court.
Enjoy these fantastic mid-month savings only at Clicks until 22 June. Buy Clicks 2-ply toilet paper 18 rolls, $89.99 per pack. Buy Pampers Active Baby Pants Value Pack, 2 for $176 per pack and 1 for $186.99. Or buy Nivea Body Cream or Lotion 2 for $82 and buy Lifebuoy Soap 3 for $33. Clicks, feel good, pay less.
Unemployed fishermen at Walvis Bay were blessed with food parcels by the office of the Irongo Regional Governor to sustain them for a while waiting to be employed. This report from Hendrina Kanyolo.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The Irongo governor showed up at the area outside Quisep Moon Stadium with a truck full of groceries for the fishermen who have been gathering there for almost 5 years. The fishermen have been gathering there since some of them lost their jobs and some are homeless in the hope of getting jobs. The governor urged the fishermen to be patient, noting that he understands how hard it is for them as they had been out of work for very long. He also thanked them for being organized and always negotiating in a peaceful manner.
The office of the governor has decided to give a donation of food parcels to the affected fishermen, those that are remaining to be employed. We have been in contact with the representative of the remaining fishermen that are here at Okapare, and also the union that is also negotiating their part with the ministry. And we also, as an office, I went to see where these people are staying, and with that sadness, the condition in which they are staying, we then decided to at least give something to them while we are addressing their plight in terms of their re-employment. The other issue that I will inform them is that the situation of them being re-employed is receiving the minister's attention, and the ministry is working progressively very well, and very soon in a possible time he will then come back and give them the answer of being re-employed. Surely it is receiving this urgent attention, and soon we will see the ministry also announcing that solution of the people.
The fishermen were happy that they could at least put food on the table for their families and share with those that have been helping them over the years.
Yes, we are a fisherman, so tatukangira ngani she twitira pashino cha ikulia wote ila nshaka tapindira tambiche mutusha shoka tupermesa ngani kucha himbo jironga ita gudripo ngani ita rironga shinemo azukucha kakuna ta pongane etukujira ko tupenga bishuko chipandira tapindira tambiche mutu ayenga komishono kubatirisha mba ta mberi no kepura shise ndio kuchazeka tulimwe kwa njira toka tunaza ta na tiki yenu ya kupitanga shole tangu apindira tangu mutu hali shetu kwa msomo ya mgosho.
They further applauded the governor for always being available when they needed him and promised to remain patient. The donation of 240 parcels that contain maize meal, tinned fish, sugar, cooking oil, tea and toiletries were made possible through assistance by some members of the business community.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
The Medical X-ray Center in Kadatura hosted a Pink Week, which is a breast cancer awareness week, where mammograms and ultrasound screenings for cancer were conducted. Selma Tapopi has more.
Stressing the importance of the Pink Week, which commenced on the 7th of June 2021, Managing Director at the Medical X-ray Center in Katutura revealed that younger women are the ones more affected by cancer, which is only detected late, as many do not go for screenings.
What we've come to actually see, and especially here in Namibia, is that younger and younger women are being affected with breast cancer, and that the type of breast cancer that they get is usually more aggressive than in the older patients. And because they do not usually come for screening, it's usually picked up quite late in the younger patients, and it's more aggressive, like I said. So this is, in this case, you can actually do just ultrasounds, because mammography is using X-ray, so you use radiation. There is a small radiation exposure that people obviously tend to worry about, but I mean, honestly, the benefits far outweigh the risks of the radiation exposure. So that is where you use X-rays. With ultrasound, it's sound waves, so there's no radiation exposure. It's the same sort of modality that we use to check the baby when women are pregnant. Okay. That's what we use to check the breasts. And it's especially good for younger women with dense breast tissue, because mammography, the sensitivity reduces the denser your breast tissue is. And younger women generally tend to have denser breast tissue, although there's some genetic component to it, but generally speaking, younger women have denser breast tissue. So for them, it is better to do ultrasound. And also it's easier to pick it up that way. Whereas with mammography, the fatter the breast tissue is, it's easier to see. The denser the breast tissue is, the less likely you will see some abnormalities.
Despite the low turnout to screenings, which Shongarero attests to the lack of awareness, the center is encouraging monthly self-breast examinations, which is one of the ways one can detect a lesion.
Unfortunately, with the black community, patients do not go for their annual screening. A lot of patients are not even aware of, like this lady this morning was completely unaware that she should actually go for screening mammograms from the age of 40. So in addition to this being like an awareness campaign, We also want to show patients how to examine, or I will show the patients how to examine their breast themselves, because that is one of the ways that you can actually pick up a lesion before you go to the doctor. And that's supposed to be done every month. And then the mammograms yearly. Please just know that breast cancer does not only affect women, it affects men as well. So as women should examine their own breasts, men should do the same thing. You know, because, and also, because it's not something that usually occurs in men. When it does occur, it's also usually quite aggressive. And so the earlier we pick it up, the better. We do require a doctor's letter from all patients, so that a doctor's referral, because otherwise medical aids don't pay, and it's just ethically, you know, we can't just take people off the street. We need someone to actually examine the patient and make sure that they fulfill the criteria for a mammogram. The younger patients can also come, but for them we will not do a mammogram, we will only do an ultrasound below 40. But if you feel a mass, a palpable mass, when a lot of patients don't do self-breast exam, but if you do and you feel a breast mass, and if you're still less than 40, we will still do the mammogram, because then there is actually a clinical indication for it.
Shangarero further recommends that women over the age of 40 undergo mammogram screenings and have it done yearly, while welcoming younger women for ultrasounds for the early detection of cancer.
Hello Namibia, we are in this fight against COVID-19 together. Ons is saam. I chose to get the COVID-19 vaccine as soon as it was available, because as a nurse, the lives of my patients, family and the community are so important to me. Taking the vaccine gives us a stronger chance to beat COVID-19 together.
Learn more about the vaccine. Make an informed decision. Choose to vaccinate. Protect tomorrow.
In other leading stories, due to the recent increase in COVID-19 cases, the blended teaching and learning approach, which the Namibia University of Science and Technology adopted earlier this year, has been revisited. With immediate effect, all face-to-face classes are suspended and classes will be offered online until further notice. It must be noted that the bulk of teaching activities for the first semester have already been concluded. Therefore, a minimal interruption to the university's operations is anticipated. In cases where face-to-face teaching and/or practical lab sessions are still required to successfully conclude the current semester, permission needs to be granted from management. However, the continuous face-to-face test and assessment schedules for the rest of the first semester remains as is and should be adhered to accordingly. This is to ensure that students' identities can be verified and avoid academic misconduct. This arrangement is further necessitated to ensure compliance with the regulatory bodies that accredit the university's qualifications. All students who test positive for COVID-19 are entitled to request to write special assessments. This permission must be sought from their respective lecturers and head of department as per the NUST General Information and Regulations. A medical certificate should be presented. And the Ministry of Labour, Industrial Relations and Employment Creation has noted with great concern a trend by some designated employers who do not fully comply with the Employment Service Act No. 8 of 2011 in terms of vacancy advertisements and recruitment process. Designated employer is an employer who employs 25 or more employees. The Employer Service Act that established the Namibia Integrated Employment Information System requires DEs to recruit through NIEIS and any other means, such as in local newspapers. However, as of recent, the ministry has noted that some designated employers on newspaper adverts refer job seekers to visit the NIEIS website merely for more information regarding the vacancies, while indicating that submission of the applications must be sent directly to them, which is contrary to the provision of the Act. The ministry would like to re-emphasize that the job adverts on NIESIS provides a direct link for job seekers to apply via a system to ensure equal and fair opportunity to all registered job seekers. The ministry in a media statement warned against the practice of requiring applicants or job seekers to send job applications directly to the employers for positions advertised on NIEIS, as it does not only disadvantage the registered job seekers in terms of re-uploading necessary documents and in some cases might have no means to submit their applications directly to the employer, but also straining the government's efforts to a fair and just placement for jobs.
We can't wait to be together again. But until then, let's stay safe.
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and Economic Indicators.
Welcome to Business on One. I'm Joseph Shifeni. The Minister of Finance has given clarity on allegations regarding the $3.9 billion loan secured from the International Monetary Fund in March this year. Ipumbushimi said allegations that the government has signed an agreement with the IMF that it will not increase salaries for the next 5 years, as well as introducing an early retirement scheme for the public sector, is unfounded. The IMF Rapid Financing Instrument Facility accessed by Namibia for a $3.9 billion loan is a cheaper emergency funding arrangement that caters for countries that are experiencing economic challenges arising from the negative impact of COVID-19. The Treasury indicated that as a result of the national budget that has shrunk by 10%, expenditure has been reduced, but a further reduction could threaten essential services such as health. The budget deficit, which is funded through borrowing, currently stands at $15 billion. Minister of Finance Ipumbushimi, in an exclusive interview, dismissed allegations making the rounds that the government has entered into an agreement with the IMF that is unfavorable to the country.
There is a misconception that Namibia has signed an agreement with the IMF and the IMF has imposed conditionalities on Namibia. Truth being told, Namibia has applied for the rapid facility of the IMF, which is basically an instrument that was created to respond for the world to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic. So the IMF has made resources available to their members, and Namibia is a member of the IMF, is a shareholder of the IMF, to access resources in a faster way. And that facility is not an ordinary facility, it's not an ordinary program of the IMF, because the ordinary programs of IMF come with conditionalities. This one, because it was created for the specific purpose of dealing with the pandemic, does not really come with conditionalities. So the impression that is being created there that Namibia has actually signed an agreement, there is no agreement signed. So if you search IMF documents, you go to the website, the only thing that you will find is a letter of intent that Namibia has sent to the IMF, which is basically a description of what policies is Namibia going to put in place to, or what has Namibia been putting in place to ensure that there is economic stability. And these policies have been with us for the last 5 years or so.
Shimi further added that measures such as not increasing salaries in government for the purposes of managing public finance and curbing the bloated wage bill, which is one of the main drivers of public spending, have been in place since 2016.
If we for instance, talk about wage freezes, for the last 4 years or 3 years or so, there has not been any wage increase for public service, unfortunately, because the wage bill is too high. It's not something that started with this program of the IMF. It's something that has been with us for the last 3-4 years now, because the consolidation process started already in 2016 to 2017, when government revenue started to fall because of the First, drought, and secondly, the commodity super cycle that came down. Commodity prices came down, and as a result, government revenue came down significantly. As a result, government had to reduce expenditure. And one of the highest expenditure that we have that is not sustainable is actually the wage bill. So already that time, government started instituting measures which were meant to reduce the wage bill. So it did not start with the IMF, and there's no contract saying that if we have resources to increase salaries, we can. Namibia can increase salaries anytime they want. So nobody is going to complain. The question is that can we afford it? And at the moment we are saying we cannot afford it. And we have said it in our budget statements. My own budget statement, the budget statements of the previous minister, and it's something that we will say as long as the situation does not improve. So it has got nothing to do with IMF.
Over 60 countries have accessed the IMF RFA facility for loans, including South Africa, to support their economies as a result of the devastating impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. That's all we have for you. Join us again next time for another edition of Business on One.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. A family of 13 in Agstelan, Ochumise, is being threatened with eviction letters while they claim to have bought the earth they reside on for 40,000 Namibia dollars in 2014. The couple say they no longer want to live there as the matter has become a nightmare, as it seems like the earth has been sold to numerous people, putting their lives at risk. Guy Franklin says the earth must be given or sold to the family, asking why should they be evicted if they have been there for years. Katrina says they should have signed an agreement with the person they bought the earth from. Kutas noted that it is a serious matter that needs a solution. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Today we are gathered online in all corners of Namibia to launch together the Zambezi Museum, a new museum situated in the heart of Katima Mulilo. The Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture believes that it is important that every region of the country is blessed with a museum. Museums can provide platform for showcasing the stories and the natural resources of the landmarks that gives its region in Namibia its unique character.
Time now for today's sports update with Taro Musiandaka.
Welcome to Sports on One. I'm Charom Siandaka. The Namibian national women's cricket team played their final fixture at the Kwibuka tournament currently taking place in Rwanda. Now known as the Capricorn Eagles, the national women's cricket team displayed a great performance as they ended top of their group by winning all 4 games to advance to the semi-final stages of the tournament. Tasro Lumbu has more on this story.
Before their departure, captain of the women's national cricket team Irene van Zyl expressed excitement going into the tournament, adding that the team is ready to battle it out against its opponents. Currently in the tournament, the Capricorn Eagles are proving to be a force to be reckoned with as they have won 4 out of 4 and have advanced to the semi-finals of the tournament.
Obviously, we're very much excited to get going now. COVID has kept us inbounds for quite a few months. So it's great to be playing international cricket again and to get this campaign going. Just to do the basics right, trust yourself. Every person, every player in the team has got a role to play. If you execute well, you believe in yourself and you just do your basics right and play fearless cricket. I think we're going to be a team to be reckoned with.
The Capricorn girls played their final fixture game against Kenya after coming from an emphatic win against Botswana. Going into the tournament third in the rankings, 6 places lower than Uganda, who is the highest ranked at the tournament, Francois van der Merwe, head coach of the women's cricket national team, highlights the last fixture match played against Kenya as they won by 36 runs and is looking forward to seeing who the team will face in the semi-finals.
The Capricorn Eagles women's team played Kenya today to see who is going to finish on top of the table in the T20 Kwibuka tournament in Rwanda. The Kenyans won the toss and elected to bowl first. The Capricorn Eagles openers laid a good foundation with an opening stand of 65 runs. Sunay Wittmann contributing 39 runs of 26 balls and Audrey van der Merwe 33 runs of 41 balls. The Capricorn Eagles finished on 110 for 6 after their allotted 20 overs. Captain Irene van Zyl led the charge with the ball in defending the total with 3 wickets for 11 runs in 3.2 overs. Wilka Mawatila bowled a fiery spell and took 2 wickets for 21 runs in her 4 overs. The standout performance and man of the match award went to Vicky Amunyela with 4 wickets for 15 runs in her 4 overs. The Capricorn Eagles bowled Kenya out for 74 runs and won the match by 36 runs. We are through to the semi-finals on Friday and we are waiting to see who our opponents will be.
Bowler Victoria Hamunyela walked away with the Player of the Match award against Kenya with 4 wickets for 15 runs. Hamunyela praised her team's hard work after receiving her second Player of the Match accolade at the tournament.
Well, I trained very hard and learned to bowl my length and turning the ball more. I mean, by making the team is very important because it's very difficult to get into the squad. Well, I'm looking forward and performing and working very hard and taking more wickets.
The 5-day-long tournament, which commenced on the 6th of June 2021, is now in its semi-final stages, which will be played on Friday, the 11th of June.
That's all we have for you tonight. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Maggie.
Thank you for updating us on the latest in sports, Charo. Now a look at the weather forecast.
The interior will be sunny and mild to warm in the south, elsewhere sunny and warm to hot. The coast will be partly cloudy and mild to warm, and wind will be moderate southeasterly to southwesterly. Now let's have a look at the minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond.
We have come to the end of today's edition of Today on One. Don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. From me, Maggie Forciero, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
The International University of Management, a Namibian university dedicated to its people's future, a hub of abundant opportunities.
We are IUM for life. We are IUM.
Omba Arts Trust is not just an organization for me. I think of it in the form of a person, a mother and a friend I have walked and grew with. A friend whom I've traveled many remote and dusty roads. A sister who provided so much needed support during times of fear and uncertainty. There is a saying in Damara for people such as Omba, which is which simply means someone who will, with love, exchange your lean piece of meat with their fat one. It might sound simple when translated, but when used towards a loved and appreciated person, it gives such honor. It describes a person who will do everything to make sure you are taken care of. Besides, we all know how the Damaras love their meat.
It's Maria. Good. You have to put a picking near the families.
I have seen Omba grow and turn into a light of hope for Namibians all over Namibia. I have seen women and men grow as individuals, becoming respected members of their communities, but also valuable providers of their families. I have seen people with no hope in their eyes light up when they see Omba arrive to fulfill a promise which was made and which they did not believe will be kept. I have seen women dance and sing for hours until the dust from their feet covers us all because the old friend has arrived. I've seen women standing up in front of a large number of people and express their hopes and dreams. I've seen people who have never left their village travel hours and hours to other countries and share their culture and experiences. I have seen children grow and become young women and men before my very eyes. Omba has been the sister holding hands throughout it all. Omba has built valuable and strong relationship with communities, empowering both women and men, but the impact on women can be seen and felt most sincerely. The work with the women has such a ripple effect all over the whole village, most especially the young. Omba has taught them to fish. As times grow tougher and much more difficult, money becomes scarce. Environment around us changes and nothing will ever be the same again. In times like this is when we realize the value of a friend like Omba. It provides hope, constant support, reliable income, and keeping us all together, keeping our pots filled and our fires burning. A motivation to do better, live better, and expect better. If one day the unthinkable happens and Omba is no more, it will be a sad time for our Namibian rural population. Therefore, let's keep the light burning at all cost.
Ons staan mensen is de eerste mensen in die wereld wat vandaag achter gaan staan. Omba is nou die water wat voor ons nat maakt. Dat onze wortels mooi groeien, dat ons vruchten kan brengen, kost kan brengen. Omba geeft voor ons werk. En van daaraf leven ons.
It's just an amazing story that ostrich eggshell beads, 72,000 years ago, the ancestors of the San were making ostrich eggshell beads, and today in the 2020s, Junko women are still making those beads pretty much in the same way. And the work has evolved from fairly traditional products. This probably would have been worn like this, into something as sophisticated and contemporary as this necklace from the waterfall range. So here we are bringing the necklace to this gallery in Windhoek, and it then gets sold to customers in Europe, in America, and generating income for women, Junko women back in the Kalahari. So it's just an amazing thread of history that goes to this ostrich egg, to this contemporary jewelry. This basket I absolutely love. It's a finely woven basket in natural dyes. This asymmetry is very unique to Namibian baskets. And we've been working with these women, doing workshops and helping them evolve into these incredibly fine baskets. We've worked with the women developing different palettes, and there's another one with a slightly more yellow palette, but considered are the best baskets in Africa. What we're showing you in this short video is really a long journey of working together with rural communities, reviving ancient traditions, turning them into contemporary world-class products, and supporting the livelihoods of over 400 artisans. Even during COVID-19, we've been helping our sand communities with food and a distribution of tippy taps. What we need to do now is to honour the trust that has been put in us over the last 30 years, to support marginalised sand communities and the livelihoods of rural women around Namibia. Your donation will help us get our 400 artisans back to work as soon as possible so that they can feed their families. The lives of their 2,000 family members will directly benefit from this. Please help us raise $50,000 by contributing to the Omba Artisan C19 Support Fund. No matter how big or small, this will make a difference in the lives of our artisans during COVID-19. Thank you.
Beautiful souls, this is Nikita Winkler and I'm here to share easy tools for stretching that you can do just about anywhere. This is a demonstration, so what's most important is that you take the time in each position that your body needs to release its tension. In this session, we will stretch the hips. What you'll need are yoga blocks or books, thick books, or pillows, especially if you have tight hips. You can do this on a mat, on the floor, on a blanket, or even in your bed. Let's get started. So we're going to start on the floor with the soles of our feet together. I'm going to grab around the feet. This is a butterfly position. So in order to warm up the hips, I'm just going to flap the butterfly wings. And again, take your time. I'm going to lean forward, and here, again, if the hips are too tight, you can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath. You might even feel a stretch in the back here. From this position, I'm going to take one arm right behind me, not too far from my body. The other arm, inhale, exhale, press the hip open. And come back to center. Change. One arm right behind me to lengthen the spine, the other hand on the knee. Inhale, exhale, press the hip open and back to center. Now we're going to lie down on the floor. And first, before I get started, I have to make sure that my body, my spine is in alignment. I'm going to just open up the neck area. And you can spend as much time as you need here, allowing the force of gravity to weigh on the legs to open up the hips. You can place your blocks, books, or pillows underneath the knees. And gradually, you can take the feet even further down and spend enough time in each position. From here, we're going to go into an internal hip rotation. I'm going to spread my feet to the side, lean the knees inwards. If you have a little bit more flexibility, you don't really feel the stretch, just take your feet even further apart to deepen this internal rotation stretch in your hips. From here, I'm just going to place my feet, and without repositioning the feet, I'm going to take my arms to the side, and then I'm just going to rock my legs side to side, keeping the upper body facing up, shoulders down. And then I'm going to stop on one side, take the lower leg over the upper to add weight to deepen the stretch. Release the leg and switch. Other side, lower over the upper. And back to center. Last part, I'm going to spread my legs as wide open as I can, and I'm going to just row the boat. So what's important here is that the knees don't lift off the floor. Make sure you row both sides. Keep the knees and both bum cheeks on the floor. Alternatively, you can just lean forward. You can hang out on the pillow. Take your time on the blocks or on your books. And that is it. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget to breathe into your stretches, and happy stretching.
COVID-19 affects people very differently. Many people show no symptoms at all, but some are hospitalized for weeks. So what does the disease do to your body? The coronavirus enters through the mouth, nose or eyes. It then usually attaches itself to cells lining the nose, throat, airways or lungs. It can turn these cells into factories that multiply and spread the virus. For the majority, a fever, cough and breathlessness are as bad as it gets. But the virus can damage the small blood vessels lining the lungs and initiate clotting. The alveoli are tiny air sacs where oxygen goes into the blood. If they become inflamed, it can trigger pneumonia. Seriously ill patients need to be given oxygen as the lungs fill with fluid and debris.
I legit couldn't breathe. My oximeter was measuring under 88% oxygen levels, which is very dangerous. And the only time I ever thought my life was in danger was at that point.
COVID-19 doesn't just affect the lungs. It can also disrupt the immune system, which is used by the body to fight illnesses. Cytokines are part of the immune system that find and signal infections. For some people with severe COVID-19, this system can go into overdrive. If too many cytokines build up, it can cause an overreaction that damages healthy cells. This is called a cytokine storm for the most severe cases. COVID-19 can lead to seizures or even a coma. It can also cause brain problems that lead to strokes. The immune system overreacting can cause clots that stop the blood supply to parts of the brain. Brain inflammation, psychosis and dementia-like symptoms can also affect seriously ill patients. The average length of the illness is 14 days, but many people have symptoms for much longer. Breathing problems and post-viral fatigue last for months in some cases.
I cannot walk for long simply because I will feel a little bit short of breath and I feel the need to sit down. And that's something that has never happened to me before.
Some of the people who are most likely to develop severe symptoms are older adults and those with underlying health conditions. It's not fully known how anyone will react to COVID-19 until they get it. So it's important for everyone to follow health guidance. What precautions are you taking to stay safe?
My name is Ban Ki-moon. I am Secretary General of the United Nations. I was born in Korea. I was 6 years old when the Korean War started. We had to run from our homes to the mountainside. We could see my village burning. The United Nations saved my family and my country. In my time as a Secretary General, I have been moved by the horrors of humanity, and I have been inspired by his heroes. I have wept at the memorials for victims in Auschwitz, Srebrenica, and Rwanda. I have dealt with tragedies that have gone on for decades, and disasters that destroyed whole societies overnight. I have also mourned too many courageous United Nations staff members who died serving the cause of peace. I believe in having a young mindset. This means standing up to injustice. I hope I will never be too old to to ask leaders tough questions. I hope I always have the energy to speak out for what is right. I think that keeps us young.